Disclaimer: the information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before starting or changing any supplement, peptide, or treatment program. Today we're diving into Alarelin, a synthetic peptide that may sound niche at first, but actually plays a fascinating role in the world of reproductive health and hormone research. Alarelin is a gonadotropin-releasing hormone agonist, which means it interacts with the same pathways your body naturally uses to regulate fertility and reproductive cycles. Researchers first designed Alarelin as a way to study how synthetic analogs could influence the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. By mimicking natural signals, Alarelin can help us understand the timing of hormone release and even test ways to regulate those signals. One of the key things to know is that Alarelin is not a common peptide you'll hear about in anti-aging or bodybuilding circles. Instead, it's primarily been studied in reproductive biology and animal science. For example, in some animal studies, Alarelin has been used to induce ovulation or test the way reproductive cycles can be altered. This makes it valuable for researchers looking into fertility treatments or the management of reproductive disorders. What's interesting is how Alarelin works. By acting like the natural gonadotropin-releasing hormone, it initially stimulates the release of luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone. These are the same hormones that drive processes like ovulation in females and testosterone production in males. However, when used continuously, Alarelin, like other GnRH agonists, can actually suppress those same hormones by desensitizing the receptors. This dual action, stimulation at first, then suppression with ongoing exposure, makes it a very powerful research tool. Why does that matter outside of a lab? Understanding these mechanisms helps researchers explore treatments for hormone-dependent conditions. For example, continuous GnRH agonist exposure has been studied for managing endometriosis, certain reproductive cancers, and even precocious puberty. While Alarelin itself is not widely used in clinical practice, it has contributed to the knowledge base that supports therapies with other, more clinically approved analogs. Another fascinating aspect is the role Alarelin plays in animal reproduction studies. By using peptides like Alarelin, scientists can carefully time breeding cycles, study fertility windows, and control reproductive timing in a way that's much more precise than older methods. This highlights how synthetic peptides don't just impact human health, they also affect agriculture, veterinary medicine, and the study of biology as a whole. When thinking about peptides like Alarelin, it's also worth mentioning safety. Because it directly interacts with hormone signaling, it's not something to experiment with casually. Most of the research and use happens under controlled laboratory or veterinary conditions. This is a peptide meant to be handled by professionals who are carefully tracking outcomes, not a supplement for everyday use. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. One of the big themes across peptide research is the ability to create molecules that mimic natural biological signals, but give us more control over timing, intensity, or duration. Alarelin is a clear example of this, designed to act like the body's own hormone but with properties that make it easier to study in experiments. This is one of the reasons peptide science has expanded so rapidly in recent decades. If you're curious about the future, peptides like Alarelin may continue to shape our understanding of fertility treatments, reproductive disorders, and even hormone-related conditions. Even though Alarelin itself may never become a mainstream therapy, the insights it provides could lead to breakthroughs with other molecules. Research often works this way. One peptide opens the door, and others follow through it. So while Alarelin may not be on your radar yet, it's an important reminder that peptide science reaches into many corners of biology, from fertility research to animal studies, and from hormone regulation to the future of medicine. Disclaimer: this episode is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical guidance. Always seek qualified medical advice before making decisions about your health. Thanks for listening, keep learning, and stay curious.